Virginia farmers are still farming, providing a constant food supply even as the coronavirus pandemic continues. Several producers showed off their efforts to American Farm Bureau President Zippy Duvall. Duvall toured 4 different farms as well as the Virginia Agricultural Expo in August, along with Virginia Farm Bureau President Wayne Pryor and other Farm Bureau leaders. He stressed that farmers are by their nature strong stewards of the land.
Our farmers and ranchers work each and every day to protect the land that they work, the water that they use, the air that we breathe, and they're also taking care of animals so that they can be at their full production. And that's what we do each and every day. We want to be able to leave our farms in better shape than what we found it.
Duvall, a third-generation beef, poultry, and hay farmer from Georgia, sat down with Real Virginia during his tour of Montague Farms in Essex County. The Tolliver family farm has exported edible soybeans to Japan for decades, so they pay close attention to trade issues. Duvall discussed several of the most important issues facing U.S. farmers, including rural broadband access and trade. He also spoke about the resilience of farmers across the country during one of the most difficult periods in our history. What's been your impression on how farm families have weathered COVID-19?
We take everything that Mother Nature throws at us, everything that the politicians throw at us, and all the things that come down the road. And now we've had to deal with a pandemic. Our guys have suffered very difficult. Our guys and gals have suffered through all this. But they're coming through it, and they're coming through in shining colors. We're going to be a stronger industry as we come out of it. And we are very appreciative of the cooperation that we got from the federal government during this time. But it's time for us to get back to normal, and it looks like we've got a good crop coming on with better prices, and that spells out a good future for our agriculture in the short term.
With Virginia home to the deepest commercial port on the U.S. East Coast, Duvall sees strong opportunities for export sales of American farm products.
Everyone in the world wants that agricultural USDA stamp on it, that it comes from America, because they trust it. Secretary Perdue, back when he was in office, one of his comments was, what makes us different from any other agriculture in the world is our infrastructure. They can order as much as they want, we can deliver it on time at a fair price, and it's of quality that they can trust.
The bipartisan infrastructure bill that recently passed the U.S. Senate includes $65 billion for rural broadband access. Duvall says that's a critical need for farmers.
Broadband is not a luxury, it's a necessity now. We're talking a lot about our farmers having to do even more climate smart farming. And to do that, we have to be able to use the cutting edge technology, and the cutting edge technology is all about collecting data and using the internet. Our farmers and ranchers deserve, just like anyone else in this country, the opportunity to use broadband to make their businesses move forward in the future. So we have to find a way to close that digital gap, and I think that the monies that are coming through the infrastructure bill will be very monies that really should be there to be able to help close that gap. So we're excited about that, and other areas that they're trying to do that. But this is a kind of a reiteration of what happened to us in the 20s, 30s, and 40s when we brought electricity to our farms. And now we got to bring that same service to our farms so that we can stay competitive across the world.
Duvall and other Farm Bureau leaders also visited Garner's Farm and Market in Richmond County. Co-owner Dana Boyle showed off fresh fruits and vegetables and took the delegation on a backstage tour to show how their products are grown and prepared for their retail farm stand. From there, the group visited Poplar Ridge Nursery in Westmoreland County, where they saw firsthand how owners Marion and Christy Packett grow ornamental and native grasses. The businesses saw steep declines at the beginning of the pandemic, but rebounded to set record sales in 2020. And this year, they've already broken that record. Labor shortages are critical to Rod Parker and his staff at Parker Farms, the final stop on Duvall's tour. They grow, pack, and ship vegetables. Last year, they were supposed to harvest wheat and corn over a 7-week period. That was condensed into 4 weeks due to a late frost, and they didn't have the labor to complete the harvest in that amount of time.
Labor is the biggest limiting factor of American agriculture. We have our children in ag schools. They're wanting to come back home and farm, and to do that, you got to grow, and to grow, you got to have labor. And I know that it's not just agriculture, that labor is an issue in every small business across America. And I know that the problems that our legislators have with it is, you know, we can't do it until we secure the border. Those are two different issues to us. We have a labor issue. It's limiting our abilities to be productive and be on the cutting edge and a level playing field with the rest of the world. We need to solve these problems. I think there's an opportunity to do that if we can make sure that everybody separates the issue that what's going on in the border with the requirement or the need that we have in labor in agriculture.
Duval witnessed the productivity of the state's farmers in person during his tour of Virginia. He'll take the experience back to Washington, D.C. to make sure our farmers' interests are heard in the nation's capital. In Essex County, I'm Burke Moeller reporting.